Yeah, do it. Do it. Do it. There was like a 15-20 second delay yesterday. Yeah, you're good on my end. Can you hear me? Oh, you had OBS set for the other one, right? Okay. So it's all good.
Okay, what's going on, guys? I apologize for that. My mic was set to my podcasting microphone. I will go through all of that stuff again with you guys. Give me one sec. Go ahead and talk, Chingus. Can you guys hear Chingus okay?
Hello, hello. Mic check.
Yeah, he should be good. He should be good. Okay, so I apologize for that. We've got okay. So what I wanted to start out with was we did watch yesterday's weekly closing, and like we had said yesterday, just on the weekly, Bitcoin has done something it's never done before in basically the past year. Let's see how long exactly it's been. It's been about 525 days since we've closed above this level. We got rejected once, twice, three times, four times, five times, six times. We got 7 rejections, but yesterday's candle closing was very, very bullish, and then we closed above this 50% Fibonacci level for the first time since January of 2019. So that does say a lot for the bulls. Now, what is this little ribbon that we've got here? Well, let me show you the dark theme. It's a little bit easier to see. This is known as a Guppy EMA system. And Guppy is just basically like a trend following system. You can see this is the weekly, but you can see on the daily, when it turns red like this, and you get this gap, it's called a Guppy twist. That's usually signaling the reversal or change of the trend. And we talked about that yesterday with the RSI and where the RSI likes to be. This is the OBV and the MACD. But this Guppy system is basically just a trend following system that uses exponential moving averages that have this gap between them. And what we saw was we basically saw this exponential moving average ribbon act as support all the way up. We saw a break below for a little while, but we didn't get that full twist down because we bounced right off that 9,600 level for a double bottom slash Adam and Eve. Now, if you guys remember one of my previous analysis, I talked about the Adam and Eve. I'm going to go back to the light theme just so we can see my trend lines. But I talked about this Adam and Eve. Usually what we like to see from the Adam and Eve is a measured move. What is a measured move? It's basically the height from the bottom to the top. And that usually gives us the height of where our targets should be. So 14.5 puts us at 12.4. If we take this down to the wick, that gives us 18%. So between both of those, we should still see 12.5, 12.8, just from a measured move on the Adam and Eve. Now, we did come down and we are looking at retesting this neckline. That would be 10,800. And that would be where we can, where we're looking to time our entry for our next long, which is actually where we sold our previous spot long from 9,600 for about a 14% gain. But that 10,800 level will be a good spot to add back in because it's a retest of the neckline as well as previous strong resistance, which should act as a key support there. As well as we've got this exponential moving average ribbon down here. So that's what we're seeing kind of on high time frame. Low time frame, I took a little scalp this morning. I did post that in the margin channel. Whoops. I made all of, I think, $500. So not much to write home about, but we got to take what we can get in a market that's very, very flat and very, very rangy. So basically, we've got this trend line. I was also looking at this trend line here, which would look like a basic potential breakout retest. We've got a small bit of a guppy down here. I'm going to get rid of this just because it's a little bit too hard to see. I use guppy mostly for high time frame stuff. So on the 30-minute, kind of a vortexing of moving averages, we tested that 200 EMA. Haven't really been able to retest it since. We got a little bit of a mini pump up to 11,445. A lot of downside pressure, but bulls are defending this region very, very well, which usually means that they're filling some long liquidity here. And a lot of what I'm seeing, a lot of people are saying this 10,800 level, we might not see it. It might get front ran by people that are building long positions, accumulating here, and kind of front running bears who are trying to short. And so let's take a look real quick at this is something that I would definitely add to your tool belts. It's called hold on, let me find the actual funding, and you want to use where is this at? BitMEX funding by neobutane. Here it is. Okay, so oops, nope, that's not it. BitMEX. Did they delete this? I usually have it on favorites. Let's see if it's just funding. Okay, so for some reason my indicator is not pulling up, but what we usually want to look at is the funding ratios, whether it's positive or negative, meaning whether it's profitable to stay in a position for long. So what we can do is just look up BitMEX funding and kind of see what those rates are sitting at. So if you took a margin trade, you're still in the margin trade. Initial entry was 11,350. Secondary entry was 11,280. Our funding rate is 0.0615, so not anything too extreme. When it gets extreme up like this, like 0.1, 0.12, 0.11, that's where you want to start looking to take a counter trade because the trade gets very crowded. It hasn't been extreme as it was or previous, and the next predicted funding rate is 0.01%. So nothing too crazy on the funding rate. This can be potentially a bull flag that I had spotted before we were doing the analysis. If it's a bull flag, then basically we're just kind of moving back and forth, bottom of range, top of range. So that would mean this 10,800, 11,000 could be the top or bottom of this lower flag resistance channel. RSI, I'm seeing lower support zone. Looks like we might have broken out here, retested it. So that would be bullish. And that's kind of what I was looking at on a lower time frame. I was hoping to see a retest of this higher time frame here. 4 hour, it looks like that 20 MA is coming down and acting as resistance. It looks like that's where we rejected off earlier at the 11.5. We got that 2050 cross. So, downside targets again for spot would be 10,800. That's why my stop loss is very, very tight on this margin trade. Say something, I'm giving up on you. Boom, gotta go. I can't. You guys can still hear me, right? I'm kind of talking, but.
No, you're good.
Okay, everyone's good. Okay. Okay, so ideally what we're looking for is that 10,800, 11,000. That's the zone that I'm watching for. I'm not sure if that's what Chinggis is watching for, but it would be a retest of that neckline, as well as look at all this beautiful confluence right here, 200 EMA, 100 MA, 200 MA just below that to act as possible wick support. So we might get a candle down, we might get a wick onto that 200 EM or 200 MA, and then it might come back up and close above that 200 EMA, as well as like this confluence of basically 4 moving averages all moving together. We did get this breakout of the falling wedge on the RSI. We might get one more retest down, but all in all, this does look good for a continuation upside. We're just trying to get that better entry before a potential move up to retest the 13.5, 13.7. I did want to bring up a Twitter post on Bitcoin. Let me bring this up really fast here. Where was this at? Basically, Goldman Sachs issued a buy support or a long update on Bitcoin, saying that they were targeting 13,700. So that is the ideal scenario based on what Goldman Sachs analysts are saying is they're looking at. I'm going to let Chinggis take it over. I'm going to look for that chart because I wanted to go over a couple of charts that I found very interesting today. The Guppy was one, but yeah, I'll let you take it over, brother.
All right. So we're good on Bitcoin. This is a 4-hour chart looking at Bitcoin, diamond top, brought to bottom. Diamond bottoms generally bring a new top. So it's just one more thing to keep in mind as you look through charts. Swap into different time frames, you get different pictures of what's happening here. I do have a level at 10.4 and 10.37, which is just a little bit lower than where Jacob sat. That's due to this flash wick down here on a retest after the big push up. So that's this level right here coming up and the big drop off. This area here was bought up so quickly that when we came back through it, we crushed it right here. So this is a level that I'm sort of actively maintaining. It's always a target if we're trading above it, and it's always a target if we're trading below it. So that's just something that I have that's just kind of sitting there. But we'll take a look at a few things here, swap around. I want to talk to dominance for a second. We talked about this on the weekly, but to get updates on it day to day only makes sense. So just on today, right, we pushed up the tiniest little bit, this little fraction of a node right here. That's all we got, right? So from 68.6 to 68.7, really not much at all. What we're looking for, if you didn't tune in yesterday for the weekly, we're looking for a move back down to this trend line, officially find support on it after we broke it right here. This, if I zoom out a little bit, you'll see all the many times it was resistance. We did break it here, close above, came back down for an instant fail. That just happened a few weeks ago. So now we broke it again. We found more resistance up. That look left level over here is the big major one that came over in April. So that's the idea. Not much has moved. So we didn't see the kind of consistency that we wanted to see within the all pairs. It would have been nice to see something a little bit more dramatic. There were a couple movers today, nothing major, and mostly on the smaller pairs. Like the small low cap, like Hot moved a little, Matic moved a little, Win moved a little. Let me take a look at my list here. ZRX and Dusk and Kaz and all those little guys, yeah, they get their 3 to 5% moves up and down basically all day long.
You can actually chart that with what's that called? Shitcoin dominance. I forgot what the actual name for it was.
Oh yeah, others.
Others.
Yeah. So I got others over here, and I mean it's the same deal, right? It's supposed to be more or less an inverse of, but because this is separated. you could just kind of see the way it moves, right? So we got very little movement to the upside. This is actually a flip. So what was once support is now resistance. We do need to break that, and the idea to break that would be if we were able to get a push downward dominance on Bitcoin. In other words, to push up past it once again. So we have no problem breaking it. This level here is, we're just dancing all over it. We're not really using this as support or resistance. We're just kind of dancing around it. So when we're above it, it's support for a little while. When we're below it, it's resistance for a little while. And that's just kind of how we play that chart. But yeah, so that's the others chart right there. That'll give you an idea.
So others dominance, you can find it on TradingView, others.d. And that basically just represents the dominance of all of those really, really small cap coins that are like in the bottom 5% on TradingView or Binance.
Yeah, so when they're cruising, it's good because those are the ones that'll jump pretty nicely. They'll get big movements in volume, big 7 to 10% shifts in volume, and that volume will move that coin, 10, 15, 20% without blinking an eye. You can also get trapped in those trades really quickly. So it's super high risk, but it is something that.
Yeah, you need good liquidity for that.
Oh yeah.
But sure. Some of those small cap coins like Cause, I threw that out really before anybody even knew what the hell Cause was. I don't even know. Honestly, I haven't even done any fundamental research on Cause. It got added pretty randomly, but I was just scrolling through new charts. But Cause, FTM1, a lot of them are getting some pretty sizable volume, which is what I like. Let me show this chart really quick. So this is one of the things that I had come across today. Market intel from Goldman Sachs suggests investors should capitalize on the current price dip and buy Bitcoin. The investment bank said that based on its Elliott wave analysis, which is random that Goldman Sachs is using Elliott wave analysis, but Bitcoin would find support around 11,094 and that there's scope for a move higher to 12,916 as well as 14,000. Any such retracement from 12,900, 13,971 should be viewed as an opportunity to buy on weakness as long as it doesn't retrace further than 9,084 low. So pretty interesting. This came directly from Goldman Sachs themselves. They used this Elliott wave chart, which was, they saw basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 microwaves, 5 major waves, I don't even know what this is. It doesn't look like an ABC, but now they've got another 5 subwaves here, which could probably build into a subwave 1, and then maybe a pullback back down to 11,100, 11,879. So it looks like they've got another mini cycle coming in that forms another wave 1 cycle. So pretty interesting.
Straight out of Goldman Sachs. Very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do they put charts out often, or is this a new thing?
I haven't seen this too much. This comes right from Scribd. I could post that link in the let me see, where's the link for this?
Yeah, that's wild. I don't really follow Goldman Sachs, not for Bitcoin, so it's interesting.
Yeah, I saw that today. I thought that'd be very interesting to mention on our live update. Let me throw this in the chat here for you guys. There we go. Oh, okay. Well, apparently it's a little too long.
Whoops. All right, let's real quick. We'll scope the 2 trades that are ongoing right now. So let me throw Link BTC since that is an active trade. So we'll take a look at what it's doing. Looks like right now the entry was set at 2,000. I believe this got updated a few times. LC, he made a few updates on there where you could go back in at 21 or 28. We're at that level right now, 20,877. The bridge down is pretty good. It's a sizable channel, but if we draw our trend on here, we should be able to see the good break that we got. And that's that right there. So big push, break, close above, slow bleed out for the retest. Got the retest, good push off the retest. So this is all, visually speaking on a daily chart. This is great. This is exactly what we want to see. You want to see a long-term trend getting broke, having respect on the positive side for the retest, and then a slow push up. Now, these aren't just insignificant levels over here. So we did just break the 5. That's right here. And a quick push down on a retest on the 5 is exactly what we got. So yesterday, a little bit boring of a day, spinning top indecision. And today, what we got is essentially the same thing, but with a significant pullback that did basically confirm that the 5 is now support. So that's what we're looking at as far as that. I'm not sure. Let's see. LC's got 21,750 would be the first target. I believe that was hit yesterday. So yeah. So then it's coming back down for re-entry, and then the next target after that is 22,500. So 22,500 is sitting right up here. So you're essentially going right back to the 382. All right, so 24,894 would be the 382. And then that would be working its way back through the fib channels back to its all-time high. So that's where you're at for Link BTC.
And I also see on Link. The one thing that's gotten me is on the 4-hour. We have not been able to break back above 70. I would really like to see an RSI move above 70, but we have found some support on the 50. So it does look like we are shifting that momentum to the upside. But basically, since we fell down from here, we haven't been above 70, and we have dipped below 30. Now, this is on the 3-hour. Now, the other thing is we are above that 618 Fibonacci retrace zone, and also our 4-hour 20 MA is coming up on a cross of the 50. And 20-50 crosses, I like those a lot. A lot of times you see some nice reaction off a 20-50 cross, and this looks like it's coming in pretty quickly. Any truth that you see in the Link team in a sell-off from the devs? I mentioned that yesterday. There is a lot of FUD going on right now about Link. They do have a big announcement coming up. They have been selling their Link for sure to the tune of about 36 million. I believe that they've been selling 700,000 chunks based on the Blockchain Explorer and the wallet address and whatnot. But it is still being bought up. It's still got some nice reaction. It is still in an uptrend. So with this, just make sure you set your stop losses. The risk was pretty low. I think it was around 4%. And we already hit target 1. So you could have taken some profits out and then rebought down lower. That's always an option. And just so you guys know, with our trades, it is more than appropriate to take all of your profit out at target 1. We have a few traders that do really, really well. But it does lower your RR when you do get some of those big trades because, some of those trades, they do make up for, if you get a couple of stop losses that hit in a row, you might get one trade that runs to 70, 80, 90%, where then you can sell and, recoup some of those losses and make up with a big RR on, one of those trades. It's kind of like blackjack, it's like doubling down. Whenever you hit a big trade, it kind of increases your RR. But again, it is okay to take profits out at T1 and just kind of rinse, repeat, compound your gains. Buy, rebuy, lots of different strategies that we'll eventually start going over as far as how to strategically play them. If you've taken the 21-day challenge, you'll have gotten a lot of that information. Okay, back to your chart.
So I did the same thing. I threw the 4-hour on and reclaimed my MAs. And yeah, I see that the 2050 is real nice. So support on the 50, that's the orange line right here. 20 is coming up from the downside. In the past, when we've seen this, unfortunately, we've seen a little dancing around for a little bit before it officially finds its home. So that is something to be mindful of. We'll just have to keep an eye on this for sure. It's going to look different on the 1-hour chart. It'll look different again on the hourly chart. This is a longer term play. So this is something that you just want to just kind of, keep an eye on, make sure it's going in the direction, move up your stops as necessary. But it could take a little while. When Link does start to move, it moves. Like we've seen in the past, you'll know it. Everybody will be talking about it and everybody will be buying it. And that's just how it works. When it gets that kind of attention, then we go through these long spans of the long bleed outs before it swings up again. So this has been a very long pullback. And then we're expecting to see some violence coming up to get it back to where it was. So that's for Link. Let's check out FTM. BTC, and let's see what's going on with
And
this guy.
I will be back in just a little bit. I have to go get my daughter to bed, so I'll be back online in just a little bit. And we're gonna keep this one a little bit more short and sweet. Yesterday's weekly closing was about 3 hours long, so we'll just do a few charts, a few trades we're watching, and then we'll wrap it up so you guys can get back to your life.
All right, so let's see FTM, what they got going on over here. Let's get this going. All right, so looks like the trade target entry was 160 to 165. What are we currently at here? 171. All right, so and then a profit at 182. All right, so yeah, this is good. This is so far we're looking at an established reversal off of a longer downtrend, right? So sharp downtrend, sharp slope. That's what you got right here. Looking for some sort of trend verification that we broke through. Yeah, okay. So right here, you pushed up, close above. This is kind of like an abandoned baby. Push back down, retest, dropped it back down for support. Big push up, ended up getting the 236. Push back down, found support on your fast EMAs, still trading underneath the 20, which is good. That's exactly what you want. And right now you have resistance not only at the 236, but also at the 50. So that's the 50 right here on the 4-hour chart. So what they're planning on seeing is looking up a push to 192. 192 is going to essentially be front running the 382 by one set. So that's your level right here. That's your first exit level for your TP. So take profit 1 over there. Now that's also an area of accumulation. That's this little zone right here. You can see that chunked out area and this chunked out area. So expect that if we do get up there, it may dance around a little while before it makes this next move up. So you may have some consolidation time. And if that's the case, just like Jacob said, you could pull, 100% profits out right here with the assumption that it's going to dance around a little bit. And if it does drop, 6, 7, 8 sets, maybe you get back in lower for the next push up. If you don't want to play the risk game like that, the gamble, then, you pull out whatever it is you pull out, 25%, 20%, whatever the trade is dictating. It's been good for a while now, so don't get me wrong. I'm just keeping up with the news. Yes, that's for Goldman Sachs. Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't trust any media sources, but that's just me. All right, so Bitcoin. What do we got? 7:58 on the clock. All right, so what do we got? Daily candle close is creeping up on us. Before you know it, it'll be here in 1 minute and 7 seconds. So currently we have support. White right here is the 7. The red is the 9. These are both EMAs. We're on the 24-hour chart, so that's your daily. Currently we are finding support on the 7. We blew past the 9. So 9's dead. 7's what you need. You need to close above that 7 on daily. That's sort of how that works. You can see when you close below it, not so good. We had one good day and then not so much right now. So with the little pullback that we're seeing, this is okay. It's kind of a hammer pattern. It should be a little bit lower for a hammer, and the lower wick, the lower shadow should have gotten down a little bit further. This is going to look different on, let's say, a 4-hour chart where we're actually going to see a little bit of that movement a little bit easier, right? So right on your MAs over here on this blue one here. So if you look, the 70 EMA, that's this one, 70 EMA. And that's where we found support during this move. There's also a bit of a diamond bottom. So if you look at diamonds in any sort of way, you could draw them out just to keep it easier visually on the eyes. You would do something like this, cross the route, and then something like that. So 4-hour chart, diamond bottoms are generally, it's not a 50-50, but diamond bottoms generally push to the upside. Diamond tops generally push to the downside. So it's something to keep in mind. It's not one of those super reliable patterns, but it is something that shows up quite often, especially with Bitcoin. All right, so we should have just cleared it out. Let's see what we got. Let's go over the numbers here, and let's get rocking. All right, Daily candle has closed. What do we got? We opened up at 11,540. We had a high of 11,555, a low down to 11,222, closing out at 11,389. So a drop of $151.48 or 1.3%. So nothing too crazy. We are still underneath this swing fail. We talked about that yesterday. And that's something to keep in mind, right? We do need to push up and break, close up above, and solidify this line as support. Then we're in this cautionary period here before creep up to 13,868. That's the bullish scenario. The bearish scenario is we continue that this is resistance. In other words, every time we come up to it as the days pass, it'll continue to be resistance. Next level of support is going to be this trend line coming down over here, right? So this will change as we drop. So first level of support is going to be the 50 MA. That's this gray one over here, sitting around 10.9, 10.8 ballpark. Of course, that will move as price moves. And then you got your 20 MAs trying to creep up, right? So we just talked about that, trying to get a close and a cross on Link. Same deal, except this is on the daily chart for Bitcoin, right? So, and that's sitting over at 10,766. So this area right here is strong. That's how MAs react, especially with Bitcoin. They do tend to respect these MAs fairly often and fairly well. So this is a key area here that's gonna be all eyes are gonna be on for a little while. It'll be interesting to see the heat maps and sort of see what is what they're looking at, right? If there's a ton of heat down here, I would really not be surprised if we got a push down, found some support, maybe break the 50, close on the 20, or at least tap down, get the wick down there before another push to the upside. But this overall, just as we look at trends, this overall is pretty good. This is healthy, right? We got a nice push from 91 all the way up to 12.3 with the slight pullback. This is totally okay, right? This is good trading right here. So if we take a look at just that, we got a 382 pullback, right? That's fine. If we were to push to the 20, we'd be sitting on the 5. So that'd be a 50% pullback right off of our local trend to the upside. That's easy breezy. And we got a nice W that we talked about yesterday as well. So that's this guy right here. And that's painting down, down, up, down, up, right? So that's your big W pattern. W patterns generally get to body height, and we missed the mark on this one. So a little bit low on that one. So that's not great. But that would have gave you your double top to the drop. This was outweighed by your swing fail, right? A little bit more important that you didn't quite make that. So since you didn't make that, you didn't get your double top. Because you didn't get your double top, right? You didn't get a full W pattern. You still got a drop, and that came from the swing fail. All right, cool. So that should kind of cover the daily candle close. We're good on that. If you got specific charts you want, just throw them in the chat, and we'll take a look real quick. And then yeah, we'll just we'll keep this short and sweet. If we do these things on the daily, then we won't need to spend half of our lives streaming. We'll kind of cut to the chase real quick and everybody get back to trading. As far as volume goes, it's still sketchy. It's until September 12th, things are going to be strange. And that's just the reality of where we're at right now. We're in the midst, basically in the middle of summer, which is always a little bit brutal. You want EOS BTC or EOS USDT? I trade just about everything to Tether, but that's just me. I'm also a different kind of trader. So if you want BTC, just let me know and I'll pull that up. I also don't want the Polo chart, so let's go back to crypto here. That might make life a little bit easier. EOS USD. All right, perfect. Okay. You and me, buddy. We're like a dying breed over here. I'll throw Coinbase on because Coinbase, even though it doesn't have all the history, let's see where we go back to. That's not right. Man, that's like That's nothing. We can't do that. We'll have to go with oh boy, here we go. USDT. Let's see. I guess we'll have to go Binance, right? We just need the history. So whenever I pull up a chart, at least a clean chart, you know what I'm saying? You want to be able to just start at the bigger picture. I don't know how you guys trade, but like for me, I'll swing right into the weekly. I'll get a look at historical horizontal support resistance that are key, that look important, or it looked like, we were at least doing something on, like this level right here. That's something we're going to revisit, that's for sure. And since we're coming up on it, it's even more important. Then you take a look at like major trends. Clearly we broke this channel over here. So, it was good for a little while until we broke it over here. So not great. In fact, I would probably adjust this more so like this. So, with trends, it's kind of like, it's a little bit of an art and it's a little bit of a skill. So this trend to me makes far more sense than it did just by technically sticking to the points. And the reason for that is it's far more respected, right? So even though, no touch over here, right? You got a touch, and a touch, and a touch. That's a little bit more respected. And, I like to take a look at things like that because they tend to be more respected by everybody. So if everybody's looking at it, then it seems to make more sense. All right. So EOS on the weekly, it's not as bad as other charts, but it's not great either. This is what we're looking at as far as our current pullback. Found support around the 706. Good push up, lots of buying, right? Huge. Weekly, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row, full indecision. The week prior to that was a beautiful reversal hammer, and the week prior to that was a massive dump. So that's not great, but at least it's not further downside, right? So if you had that massive dump, you had a hesitation candle, and then you had a further dump after that, that would be bad news. And I forgot, I'm supposed to change this for you guys so that it's easier to see. So hopefully that's easier to see. All right. So anyway, with the big push up and the drop down, currently sitting somewhere around, we're just under the 618. You could tell that we tested the 618, failed, pushed up, break, closed above, failed again, flopped it over, switched it back and forth, danced around it for a little while, and then here we are again, just underneath it. Now, MA's coming in. You are currently trading underneath the 7 and the 9, so that's not good. You're trading underneath the 20 and every other relevant MA in the series. So none of that's good. Volume is trending down. So when you notice price, all right, so this is something that everyone should understand, right? If volume is going down, right, and price is also going down, right, that's actually bullish. The thought behind it is pretty simple, right? If there's less and less and less people interested in the current climate, right, then a reversal would be imminent, right? Wouldn't you think? So that's what we're looking at, just based off volume, right? No other indicators yet, but that would be the idea. So you get to consider like a divergence, right, so to speak. So on to the daily from the drop, right? You got a low, you got a high, you got a higher low, you got a lower high. So that's your first swing fail. And then your bigger picture is low, high, higher, low, right? But this guy right here kind of ruins the dance. So for that, you take your high, right? You swing it over, and then you got your swing fail right here. So this is the level you need to break. So when you do that, you look for a few things, right? You want to push up. This is not going to give you the symmetrical triangle that everybody wants, right? You're not going to get the drop down, the top, the 3 bottom, 3 top touch. That you're probably not going to get. But you will get decision time, right? You're running into the apex. There's not much else you could do except bleed off to the side. And we'd like to see some sort of reaction. Typical symmetrical triangles, although this is not the prettiest of ones, I'll be the first to admit that. A typical symmetrical triangle will get you ballpark 50 to 75 through the pattern is when you're going to see the break, right? So if it reaches all the way to the apex, it's over. It's an invalid pattern. And then you could draw this a couple different ways, right? So this may not be as much as a triangle as it is a downward channel. So if we play the downward channel, you'd be able to say, all right, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy. That's going to break this level. All right. So a couple things to keep in mind with EOS right now. I would not touch this. That's a personal opinion. Take that with a grain of salt. But this is a level that you can't come down to. If you come back down to the 706, right, then the idea would be, you were already down there once and you ate it all up. Potentially, you're going to push down further to the 786. All right, so that 706 level, you can see all this area is a accumulation, right? People are buying and selling, on and off. But you haven't crushed up anything past your hesitation. So that's this zone right here on the way down. This is where you consolidated. This is where you took a quick break, right? So that area right here, you push back up and sold, right? 3 times sell. So you know that there's a ton going on right here, right in this level down here. Now on the shorter term, this level right here has been bought up until this big dump, right? Now you could almost consider this a false break because of the size of the candle down and the size of the pullback on the very next day. However, it didn't quite go 1 for 1 on here, right? So you got a lot less. It took 2 days to get it back. So this could be valid trading. And because of that, you have to sort of keep it in mind that this area has now been chewed away. So now you have local levels further on the downside. So this is something that you need to watch. I wouldn't jump into it right away. I would sort of let this thing play out. You want to break above this level. So you want to be able to get above the 618, flip it as support. Now, unfortunately, you've done that before in the past and you know that it failed, right? So it's going to be a high risk play any way you look at it. Let me bring that to the front. All right. So high risk play any way you look at it. But if you are to push up, break, close above, your next level is going to be this level right here. That's that target area where they've already chewed it up 1, 2, 3 times before. If you could break out of that, then you're looking at historical support resistance, which is this green line right here that we first put up on the weekly chart. That's going to be your first area to, basically take profits or get the hell out for now. And that's going to be somewhere around 4.9. Smash past that, and then now we're cooking, right? Once you start developing the fact that you're back into a trend and you want to actually have a reversal, that's when we can start talking levels. That's when we can start looking at stuff like this. You come up, you come down, 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 bang, trend's exhausted, get your pullback and continue on. All right. So that's EOS. Very good. Anybody else got anything else? Why am I on the live chart? That's interesting. Oh, I'm on the wrong chart. That's why. All right. No problem. Let me put this back to normal. Yeah, okay. So I kind of messed that one up. No problem. There we go. Sometimes when I move around these templates and these charts, like I'll end up confusing myself. Ankar. All right, and KR. USDT or BTC? Sam, let me know in the comments. For now, I'll throw on the USDT pair because that's what I look at. BTC. All right, ANKR. BTC. Okay. All right, so what we got here? There's just like no history on these coins. Yeah, I mean, it looks terrible. So if you like the formation of hockey sticks, that's what we have. It's pretty bad. I'd like to say seen worse, but not really. I mean, this is it's bad. Yeah. We did break above this this one channel over here. So, take that with a grain of salt because you have 15 days of history over here. So, you're in a heavy downtrend on a coin that has no history. So you have to zoom in onto smaller time frames, and each one of those smaller time frames is going to hold less and less weight Of course, this is just like hyper low cap. So these are already just impossible to trade. Volume did start cruising up on the 7th and the 8th, died down right away. I'm surprised for the volume, the increase is not substantial. You know, these types of coins, when you get volume like that, these types of coins go, 50, 60, 70%. This thing, not so much. 20%, 27 in 2 days. And trust me, I'm like 27% is awesome. But, I mean, it's, you gave it all right back and then some, right? You probably gave 150% back. So, you have to be careful what you wish for with some of these coins. The overall, and again, take this with a grain of salt, but we did break above this trend. We closed 4-hour chart, pushed down, found support. We're currently trading on our 7 and 9 EMA as support. 20 is underneath. All right. So that's all good, right? That's all bullish. You got 1, 2, 3 periods in a row going down with lower highs. So that's something to keep in mind. That could also just be part of the retest. So a retest, push, find support, and then push up. Your first level, which you already tagged on the break, is going to be the 50. So you're looking around 47. 70 would be your next level. So you're looking somewhere around 50. And then 53 would be your topside level for now. You want to have some sort of coinciding factor here. 57 is going to be rough when you do get up that way. And that's only if you don't create further downside, right? So what we did over here was we had the nice push up, came back down, tried to retest, couldn't quite make the retest. On the next period, came down, got the retest, right? Everybody bought this up, bought it up, and then they sold it, right? So nobody wants to hold this thing for anything more than a few sats, which is already has me worried on what you want to do with it, right? Big drop down, barely any hesitation on this trend. You did get a quick up, so that's pretty good. And then you had 4 straight periods of dropping. So you can see the exhaustion in trend, right? Big candle, smaller. This would have been a hammer. That would have been a bullish reversal. It got denied. And then a solid, and then another, this kind of like a thumbtack candle, right? And then you got 1, 2, 3, 4 days sideways, and then another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days sideways. This is all consolidation. So, this whole level really between here and here, all right, that's all garbage trading. That's all that is. There's nothing more than being stuck at 45 to 42 sats. If you can get in, if liquidity is not an issue, then you can easily range train this. Ping pong trading, very simple. You always buy at 42, you always sell at 45, and you could see you would have been able to do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 times. So 5 trades, in a matter of 2 days, a little less. And let's see, each trade 7%. Anybody complaining about 7%? Hell no, 7% is awesome. So 7% trade 5 times, 35% net over the course of August 9th to August 12th. So 3 days. So not bad. And that's what some of these coins are great for. Again, like this channel, once you recognize the channel, and you probably would have, let's see, 1, 2, 1, 2, you would have recognized this channel by here at this moment, or really by this candle right here. And if you were to always just buy and always sell, you could have played that channel a few times. Now, Ankar, probably you can't short, so it'd be long trades only, which would be twice as risky because you're counter trend trading in an absolute downtrend. But it's something to keep in mind, at least as far as possibilities. This is what this coin's doing, by the way. It's just going down. Boop. All right, but look at that. A little break and close above. All right, what else you got? It's curious because of that pump a few days ago. In my opinion, we're gonna see some volatility before September 12th. for sure. And especially if Bitcoin dominance goes down, altcoins go up, the same volume stays in the market. It just gets pushed out of Bitcoin and into alts. Unless you're under a rock and it's a very, very, very big rock, Binance is shutting down to U.S. customers. So it doesn't matter if you live in Yugoslavia or Russia or Germany, it doesn't make any difference. It affects everybody, right? It's a global exchange that U.S. residents, on top of every other resident from every other country, trades on, right? So volume is the most important thing in trading, right? If you can't get into a trade, that's a problem. If you can't get out of that trade, that's an even bigger problem. So coins that can be traded by U.S. citizens is a very small list, right? So let's just throw a number out there and say somewhere around 60 pairs are U.S. friendly. Binance refuses to put out a list of their first round of coins that they're going to put on their U.S. version of the exchange. And you know what? Regardless, with or without that list, it can only be X amount of coins, right? Because the U.S. only allows you to trade coins that have document and you've already registered and yada yada yada. You went through all the hoops, the red tape, and all that junk to make it U.S. friendly. So I think we're going to see some volatility in the coins that are certainly not coming over. Not only for U.S. traders, but for global traders, of course, all over the world. If they don't have volume, whether they can legally trade Ankar or not, if there's no volume, no one's trading it, right? And that's it. That's a wrap. It goes into the waste bin of coins that once was. And, we'll see this thing travel down to, whatever, 3, 4, 5 sats. And that's it. It'll sit there until, people are interested again. So for people that hold a significant amount of these coins, that couldn't sell here, and here, they want to get some of that money back. So they would like to see, and of course, anybody investing would like to see it go back up to, let's say, these levels over here. And then that gives them the opportunity to sell it right into the dirt so that they can get the hell out and get off the exchange because they don't have another exchange where they could trade it. Get it? Make sense? All right. All right. Isn't Ankar really hard to play this range trade because it's super low side? Yeah. So that's what I was saying with liquidity. Like you have to be able to get in on that trade. Some of these super low, like I remember sitting in a, what the hell was it? Metal, MTL, I think it was, or it could have been hot. I sat with my buy order in for days, weeks, maybe even. For hot, probably weeks, because it does have more liquidity, but less stingy sellers. You know what I mean? So because you're super low sat, every freaking sat is like 10%. So 12, 15, whatever it is these days. So it becomes a huge deal. You buy at 20, you sell at 21, like, what I mean? Like shit, you just made like 10%. And you didn't do anything. The problem is you wait in line, right? You're basically in queue. And when you put it in, that order goes into the book. You are the last in line. So if you have, 2 million orders in front of you, they have to get satisfied first. So you need sellers on the other side willing to sell at a level below market in order to offload their bags, probably for a loss, so that you can get in and buy. And now you got to wait into the sell queue. So immediately when you buy it, put a sell order in because you want to be able to get the hell out eventually. And you don't want to put your capital into a trade that's going to sit there for weeks because you have what's called opportunity cost. So if you could have been making, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 12, whatever trades in the meantime and getting 3, 4, 5, 6% on those trades, you would have mustered up somewhere around 30 something percent trading other trades as opposed to sitting in queue so that you can get your 10% on hot. So yes, there's certainly something to be said for that. On these particular coins, like Onkar, like I don't know if Onkar has an ETH pair. It does. Like these coins, I trade like on ETH. Well, not trading this thing on anything. That's for damn sure. That's also on Bittrex. So because the for me it's the resolution, right? So yeah, Binance doesn't have an ETH pair. For me it's the resolution. So let's take hot, right? Hot BTC, right? So hot BTC. Look at it. How do you trade this, right? This is, I mean, look, if you want to be honest, this is ridiculous. What are you supposed to do with this? It's the same thing I just talked about, right? Between 8 and 9 sats is what, right? And this happens all day long. The problem is you just can't get in and out of it. You're just stuck in it for a lifetime, right? 12%. And that's great. And these orders probably waited for, 2 weeks before they finally got hit. This guy like made out like a bandit. He's like, oh, finally, I've been in this thing forever. I thought I was going to die in hot. But the thing is, I won't trade hot like that. I'll trade hot like this. And the reason I'll do that is the resolution. Look, holy crap. We have like a chart again. This is a 4-hour chart. You can get in and out much easier, much easier with threat of being stuck in this thing for 7 years. So 1.28%. That's an idea. You don't have to trade everything to Bitcoin. Even if you're a Bitcoin trader, you can simply trade it into an ETH pair from ETH, sell your ETH for BTC. Boom, done. You got enough liquidity in ETH BTC all day long. You don't have to worry about that. And for me personally, I do this, right? I go hot USDT because for me, you got even more resolution, right? So when you're trading on USD pairs, you got to remember that, just because USD stops at 2 decimal places doesn't mean that the coin does, right? The coin goes up to 8 decimal places. So you have all that resolution in between every potential sat, between every potential dollar, between every potential cent. So that's why I would trade something like this onto those in and out, right? You're not sitting, 6 weeks for 12%. You might be sitting 6 hours for whatever this guy is right here. I mean, this was a hell of a trade. So 17%. I mean, we're not looking like rips like that all the time, but when they do happen, they're great. But even then, you can see the uptrend over here. This is 4 hours, so you're probably looking at 1, 2, 3, maybe like 3 days or so. I don't know what's going on. I think something's dying here. Oh, geez, what's going on? I don't know. We're gonna have to let that cool off for a second. Things are dying. Let's see if I can try to salvage. We got the spinning wheel of death. So anybody familiar with the Mac knows that that's about the worst thing you could ever see ever. All right, so let me read through chat while we got a second, and I tried to get this thing into a workable state. All right, is it Onkar really hard? Yes. Perfect. Thank you for the thorough analysis. No problem, Sam. Quang Tran. I hope I said that right. Maybe not. Dusk BTC, please. No problem. We'll get to that in 1 second. That'll probably be the last chart of the night, creeping up on 8:30. Let's see. So Dusk BTC will take care of that when alt season. I'm trying to quit my job. Don't quit. Need Bitcoin dominance to break its rising wedge. Yeah. So so Jacob's talking about alt season. We need Bitcoin we need the dominance to come down, right? We need money to go back to the alts. And right now it's bad. Volume is bad across the board. And we're sort of in this weird like holding pattern. Nobody really wants to say yay or nay, like, hey, we going up or down? Like, because if Bitcoin would just make up its mind, it would make it a lot easier for everybody else. And until it does that, people are just kind of sitting on the fence and waiting, right? They're sort of just waiting for something to happen one way or the other. So if Bitcoin dies, right, that means alts will probably get taken down with it unless the volume shifts. Right, you can maintain volume and still have price go down, right? How many times have we seen that? We talk about it all the time. Volume up, price down, right? Same deal that we just talked about when we talked about divergence in price and a bullish scenario where you have price going down and volume is going up, right? And then the opposite, right? Price is going down, volume going down. So that means you'd be looking for something bullish. All right, so I think we're still spinning. Yeah. Well, yeah. Oof, that's a spin. So let's see if I could might be able to do something still. Let's see if I can do something over here. Maybe if you're super lucky, I could do that. Let's see if Dusk BTC over here. BNB USDT 4-hour golden cross. Can you chart that? Yeah, I could throw a chart up. I'll probably end up putting it in Discord because right now it does appear to be just doing little spinny things. But let's see if we can put up let's see, coin.trade. See if I could pull this one over, because if I could pull this over, then I can at least get something going here. Otherwise, then we'll I'll throw the charts up. I'll put them in the that Discord daily show Q&A thing. Yeah, so I don't know what happened. Maybe the stream died or something, but we are frozen. All right, so now you get to take a look at my hot tether chart while we close this thing down. So I'll put Frank, I'll put Dusk BTC. I'll throw that in that same Discord channel. And James, I'll do BNB USDT. Same thing, I'll throw that in that channel. So you want a 4-hour golden cross BNB USDT. Okay, so no problem. BNB. Oh, are we back? No, I saw some movement there. BNB USDT 4-hour golden. We got some notes over here. And then Dusk BTC. Okay, cool. All right, I do see movement. Oh, we back? I think we might be back. Whoa. Maybe we're back. Let's, we got some movement. After Binance close, will there ever be alt season? Yeah, you guys, like Binance is new. Like it's been around 2 years. So it's not like Binance is not the end all be all when it comes to exchanges. For some odd reason, people latched on to Binance. I think maybe they found something like human about CZ, so it became like a thing. But yeah, Binance is not like the only exchange out there. And you probably don't want my opinion on it, so I'll just keep that to myself. But the idea that we can only trade on one exchange is crazy. It's one exchange. There's 350 plus exchanges out there. Like I said, Binance is just one of them. So Binance happened to get a whole bunch of volume during the 2017 rush. So did Coinbase, so did KuCoin, so did Kraken. Some of them are just a little less flashy. They're not posting on Twitter. They're not holding a contest every 3 days. They're not charging, 100, what was it? 100 million, 10 million or something dollars to get listed. So it's an entirely different ecosystem. And it's good. Change is good, especially in crypto. All right. So we were gonna do Dusk BTC. Let's do that now. Dusk BTC. All right, so let's take a look at. Oh, jeez, you guys love these hockey sticks, dude. Like, all right, you ready for 10-second analysis? Down. Good. You want more? All right, no problem. So this is very similar to what we actually just looked at. So we do definitely have a rounded out bottom, which is nice. Generally, if you can get some sort of life into these things and it's not super dramatic, it puts a little bit more weight behind them. So, something like that is okay. There you go. But this gives you a little bit more of like a reality check. Like, this is quite possibly how long it may take for this thing to recover. You know what I mean? So you're on a 4-hour chart, really not bad. Volume came up, it looks like out of nowhere. So this could have been FA related or whatever, but you got August 7th, volume came up sizable. You had a nice move paired with it, so that was pretty good. As far as trends are concerned, let's take a look real quick and see what we got. I don't use the first candle. That's me. Other analysts might. I don't consider that valid trading. So I completely ignore it. I usually go to first trading. Like, this is like real trading. Like, if this thing just dumped for like 7 days straight, I probably wouldn't count any of that, because it's like you had an artificial listing price that came out of nowhere, just drawn up for no reason. And who's to say it was actually ever worth that, right? So nobody traded it there. All they did was sell it. There was no buyers. So if there's no buyers and you don't have a market, all you have is a seller's market. So, I mean, somebody bought it. Yeah, but they probably shouldn't have. Okay, so an actual swing fails, yeah, sure, this would be a swing fail, but clearly, prices moved on. This would be another swing fail, but clearly prices moved on. This would be another swing fail, but clearly prices moved on. So this would be at least something to look at that has potential. So a longer swing fail is no longer a swing fail. It's just a line. So this is just a line. This candle right here does verify it as a trend, so it is now considered a downtrend line, which I'll turn red because that's what I usually use for resistance. So it's good. So what we did here was we pushed up, closed, break above, smash, push back down. Didn't quite get the retest that I would have liked to seen, but we did get stopped somewhere that makes sense, and that's this right here. So that's your 9 EMA, just trading just under the 7 EMA. So they crossed over in the opposite direction. So hasn't quite gotten the faster to slower just yet. But we do have a level over here that we are looking at. This is the area that we want to be able to cross back over to establish a trend. Holy crap. This could be the big winner, guys. So if we are able to say low, high, higher, low, and then a higher high, that would be one of the first times or the first time. Oh, let's take a look at this chart real quick. No, this is the first time right here. Low, high, higher, low, higher, high. So this was your first established trend. Wow, that actually is higher. Holy crap, guys, we do have a trend here. Look at that. This is amazing. All right, so look, we got a low, we got a high, we got a higher low, we got a higher high, we got a higher low than our previous low. We got a swing fail, so that's this line right here. We don't even have to draw a new line. And then we have our midterm micro trend, higher low, push back up, swing fail. So this is great. This is actually really good. Levels to be concerned of right now, obviously right where the green box is. So slide that puppy over to something that makes a little bit more sense. We do need to, we're not going to come back all the way down here, not just yet. So if we do, I would imagine we're going to test and fail this level. So one of two scenarios. If we test and fail the level like we're doing right now, and we push all the way back down, this is your level of support. All right. If that matches with the 20, that's like, what do you call it when you throw a cherry on top? The little added bonus, some sprinkles and fudge, some sort of, good stuff. Good stuff happens right here. If not, and we are able to push up past it, then look for the break, right? Look for the break, clean break with a quick retest down, right back into that green box. That would be re-entry. So if you were to re-enter on that, that would be the trade. I don't know. Well, we'll have to see what the analysts say about, taking a closer look at that. This would be cautionary period. I always do this on swing fails because I do think that they're super important. So it would be something like this, like that and like that. So like this area, right, is after the swing fail, it's like, it's anybody's guess, right? Just like I said, it's 50-50. You're either going to hit and come down, or you're going to break and go above. Now, if you do break and go above, we're going to need some targets, right? So let's see. Our first push, low, high, high, low. Even though this isn't the most beautiful, I would rather take this guy right here. This would make more sense. And then we throw our targets on, right? So we're going to do something like this, targets. And then we'll say, all right, if we're able to look at here, a 1618, right? Does that match? Whenever you do levels, I mentioned this over the weekend. Look left, right? It only makes sense. Like, look at the level and then look left. Like, do you have any history over there? Does it make sense? Now, you guys got me charting this thing that's been out for like 4 hours, so there's not a whole lot of history on here, but that's cool. I'm not going to hold that against you. Totally fine. This level right here is interesting. All right, this is the 3618, 3207. This is right where the next period ended, but you did have all that buying, right? So it did push down. It actually recovered for a quick second. Really below it is what I'm more interested in, that little area of consolidation. That's the first time, at least on the 4-hour chart, where you slowed down the death spiral just for a minute. And that did give people the idea that they were just going to instantly reverse. That didn't happen. All right, so first level, though, if you are looking at this and we do break above and things are looking pretty sweet, 1917. If anybody was alive, 1917, congratulations for making it 102 years. So that's good for you. All right, so first, second target, 2562, and again, 3207, ideally 3605. So much can happen in between here and there. So I wouldn't get overly excited, but this is just we like to theorize here, right? So this is theories. This is what I like as far as upside top target levels for now before a major correction. And by major correction, I just mean swing it down about 38%. 50%, come back down, probably retest 1618 level. You could do that by taking a look at something like this and then drop this over here, do this, drop this so that you got something like that. And then about the 382 or the 5 or the 618. So this would be a shallow pullback. This would be a mid pullback. This would be a deep pullback. The one that makes the most sense would be the 5. That's got confluence with the 1618 off of this move right here. So if that is the case, that's something to look at. This is, again, like, you're sort of peering into the eye of a possible scenario. So very theoretical here. Ideally, what you're looking at, back to the real world, you're looking at this level right here, and you're looking to see 50-50, right? You're either coming up and breaking this green box, right, and then push up to the 1618, or you're pushing back down, find support on the 20, which will also be your swing fail and a proper retest, right? Right now, like I said, the only retest we got was on that 9 EMA, but at least it held, right? It held, and there was a ton of buying. You can see there's a lot of interest right here. That being said, on the micro trend, right, that's considered a hanging man, and a hanging man is generally bearish reversal, meaning that you would be the top of your local trend and working your way back down. So this is a no trade until something happens, right? You need it to either break above or you need it to come down and retest. That's sort of where this thing's sitting for now. Jacob, is that you?
Yes, sir. Yep.
I can hear you.
I'm back.
I'm back. So we were going to close down with Dusk, but somebody asked for BNB USDT. I figured we ripped that through real quick.
Yeah, somebody was saying there was a golden cross on BNB.
Yeah, they were saying a 4-hour chart. So if you want to take that, or you want me to throw it up?
Yeah, I could take it. Take a look at it.
Yeah, do it. Let me go through chat real quick. BNB USDT 4-hour golden cross, Dust BTC. All right. So Frank,
I really need these videos. Thank you so much for these. Please keep them. Absolutely, man. This is part of the VIP package. We'll be doing these. We're going to try to do these every single day, depending on availability of both me or Chingas and some of our analysts. We'll try and get them all on here eventually. Okay, so BNB, it looks like we've got a big consolidation level here. The 4-hour, we did clear the 200 MA and we came down and retested that really nicely. Let's see. Mostly, we lost that long-term trend that I was watching from before. Let me see here. See how that looks. Not really relevant to us. Take a look at the logarithmic chart. Okay, let's take a look at the daily, see where our MAs are at. So we have not yet come down and retested the 200 EMA or 200 MA on the daily. This is such a badass coin. It just doesn't die.
Got some heavy supporters.
I think it may really depend on which way this breaks out, depending on how the December or the September issue with U.S. traders shakes out. We do have the 50 MA that is currently acting as resistance. I think if we clear that on the daily, I think this is totally okay to take a long position to retest the highs around 37, 38. If this 50 MA does break us back down below the 20, then I would be looking for a fill more 24 to 25, which would give us this kind of little buy zone right in here. Yeah, I mean, just pretty quick and dirty. That's what I'm seeing on BNB. I don't see it looks pretty decent so far, just consolidating. You can buy on this lower end support down here. Or you can buy when we break to the upside here. Either way, I still think it looks pretty decent for continued upside momentum. But I'd probably be more of a buyer at the 28 level just to kind of lower my risk. Otherwise, you're adding about 7% risk. Whereas if you can get in down here, well, now you can set your stops a little bit, 4 or 5%. But if you're buying up here, just to get below that swing low, you're going to have 11, 12% risk. Obviously, you can mitigate that with your position size. But I'd really want to see a close above that 50 MA first, because it looks like we've rejected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different candles, and it looks like it's challenging that right now. I do like when we consolidate right at resistance, though, as usually that's an indication that buyers are taking control of the market. We broke this downtrend here, and so I like this overall. It doesn't look too bad for me. For 200 MA looks pretty decent. The targets would be 4%, $31, and then I'd probably target here 18%. If we look at Fibonacci level here, let's see if there's any reaction on this. We're currently at the 382 resistance. We got rejected at the 50 fib. So yeah, well worth watching this. Definitely keep a watch. I would say this 100 MA on the 4 hour is perfect buying opportunity. 28.5 to 29 if you're looking to get in here. If we do see that and it sets up well, then that'll definitely be a signal.
Very nice. On the first major pullback, right, going from January.
Let me show you. Yeah, you can share your chart.
So the first major pullback from January through February, right? That big drop, right? That 127 mark. That's exactly where we're trading at this very second, which is pretty cool. So that pushed up. That was very well respected. So was the 1.4 and so was the 1.618. All those levels were respected while we were in price discovery and making new all-time highs. So something to keep in mind. That those, these extensions, they play out, you know what I mean? They do play out. It's good to have an overall higher side target, especially in price discovery, because you just don't know when to exit those trades properly before, it just does this and it just starts coming down. But like Jacob was saying, this is looking pretty good. I mean, as far as reversals are concerned, look at the buying over here. This is ridiculous. This is on a daily chart. Got 1 day of indecision and then another topper, right? And then you crushed it just on that big spinning top. But overall, this is very bullish. You come down for a pretty significant pullback locally. That's probably a 786 ballpark off of just that local move. But the big deal here is the fail, right? The failure right here, just like Jacob said, that orange line for me, that's my 50. That's right here, 50 MA. We're on the daily chart. So 50 smash, 50 smash, 50 smash. We're on it right now. Breaking above that is the most bullish thing that BNB could do in the short term. And all you need is a little bit of volume. The coin doesn't need much. BNB is BNB, right? So you have Binance. We just had the conversation about Binance. People trade on Binance. People will always buy BNB so long as Binance is relevant. So you'll always have, it's a utility coin. It's one of the few of the 3,500 coins out there that actually has a use case to it. And that being said, it will maintain this. Like, it'll maintain this uptrend, that's been going on essentially since launch. So here's your low down here over at 51 cents, and I think our all-time high was somewhere around whatever, $35, $37, $40. But the idea is that just like any other structurized form of trading, right? You had this big, massive all-time high. I believe that was the all-time high. Yeah, that was your double top all-time high, sitting around $25. That was the most important level to break, right? You got right up to it and you drop, right? Significant drop. This becomes the most important piece of the puzzle because this will tell you what the coin will do, over the next few years. So with this big pullback, that big drawdown, that sets everything up over here. This, when it happened on April 19th, we said we will come back to that level and retest it. And April 19th, 2019, and July 15th, 2019, we came right back to that level and we retested it. But now we're done, right? That's the good part. We've solidified this as support. We can always come back down to a double bottom. That's fine, but it's not on the horizon, right? So once you come back and you solidify this from a price structure, just from looking at double top, all-time high, push down, break it, make a new all-time high, come back down, retest it, flip this as support. Now we're done. You kind of like check it off the list. You say, all right, well, what's next? You just look up from there. What's the next big move? The next big move is you got to get back to this previous all-time high, right? So previous structure right here is going to be resistance, 35. We understand that. But just like Jacob was talking about before for measured moves, right? A measured move is this right here. You know what I mean? So if we do break this to the upside, right? Let's just say we break around the 80% mark, right? It's 27% move to the upside. That would clear our previous all-time high. It does not quite get us to the 3618, but it would be enough to then set up the retest, bang, drop to the all-time high, and then push up for the next level. So this is good. I mean, I like this. But again, to reiterate what Jacob said, that has to happen. You gotta cross close above that 50. Right now you're bringing in, I believe this is the is that the 70 right here? Oh, well, I just lost it. I think that's our 70 EMA. Let me just double check. I don't want to give you the wrong information. No, it's not. All right. So that is our 100. All right. So that's our 100 crossing our 50. So that's what you're talking about with the golden cross. So, and that's also on the daily right here, right? So you got 50 dropping, 100 up. So you gotta swing this two different ways, right? So on the hourly chart, you're going the wrong way, right? So on the hourly chart, you got 50 crossing underneath the 100. That's the opposite of what you want to do. But again, these are lagging indicators. They take forever to actually catch up to the local trend. What you do want to happen is swing that 50 quick. You want price above this first and foremost. This will level itself out. So it'll drag the 50 up and away from the 100 where it won't even be an issue. If you got, even whatever, 4, 5, 6% today, you'd probably drag it away to the point where they're not even touching. And that would be great. All right. Yeah. So that's about it. That's what I got for Bib. Boom.
Jacob, a bit louder, please. Let me see if I can crank myself up. How's that sound? Is that too loud? I look like I'm clipping on my audio, but how's that for you guys? Any other charts? You went through Dusk, you went through FTM, you went through one. Did you go through one?
I did not go through one, no.
Okay. And did you go through Matic at all?
No, we didn't look at Matic. We did Dusk and Anchor and
okay. Matic is a trade that I'm definitely watching here, guys. I would recommend that you guys put it on your watch list as well. It looks like we've got a bit of a consolidation here right at resistance. This chart is really, reminiscent of Raven. I've seen a couple fractal analysis kind of comparing it to Raven. We had this kind of previous support back here. We kind of broke through that a little bit. But if we bring up Raven, how does that work? We'll just do the dual feature. Okay. So if we look at Raven here, this chart is setting up very similar in the sense that this was our first rally. This was Raven's first rally. Did about Matic did about 1,000% return, but then this was the second rally, 500%. But a lot of people were looking at basically we had the same kind of retrace, a little bit of bullish reaction, and then kind of explosive move upwards. So just keep it on the radar. We are watching it for a pullback entry right now, but this could be a decent just buy zone entry. As it stands right here. I mean, this could be a bullish pennant as we push to the upside. If we break down below, I'd look for support in through here, but we do have a lot of confluence of support on the 4 hour. On the daily, we did just break and hold that 50 MA. Potentially, we could see that 20 MA cross up above that 50 MA first, but definitely one to keep on the radar. Matic, from a long-term hold'll perspective, I think this is a decent coin just because it's listed on Coinbase. A lot of partnerships with Coinbase as well. A lot of liquidity there, so definitely one to watch. And then you did Anchor.
Yeah.
Okay, you did Anchor, and then you did One. Those are like the hottest coins right now. Most volume. One, and then ERD. ERD was the other one. And Win did 100% move off that 2 Satoshi level. I fucking had some orders at 2 sats just to throw a Hail Mary in there, but they never got filled, dude. It was like a huge queue. It was like a $22 million queue or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last in line.
So One actually is getting this. I don't know if you're seeing this, but a little bit of a bottoming out structure.
Yeah, that was similar with Anchor. Anchor, I put a massive theoretical. Oh no, that was Dusk. Theoretical cup and handle, but that's only because the rounded bottom was so nice. It was just a nice, easy, slow move down. It's one of those deals where.
Yeah, this is starting to bottom out though. Let me throw up my moving averages and.
Yeah, that looks nice.
Color theme, best theme. Okay. So RSI, we actually got a bullish divergence here on the daily, which is nice. Sorry to blind you guys. So nice little bullish divergence on the daily. We are coming out of the oversold territory, and on the daily, this is looking like it's getting some nice structure down here. So definitely one to watch for a potential upwards move. I think once we break and hold this 20 MA. That would be ideal for sure. And then let me see anything else over there. No, yeah. So those are just some ones to watch. Matic and One and FTM. Those are the high volume movers. But once we see the good entries, the break and hold on the 20 MA, we will definitely send them out as trades. But just ones to keep into your watch list for long-term position trades. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up, and we'll call it a day, and then we'll go from there, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for the next daily candle close.
Very nice.